From the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans, by fans, where it's just fan talk. It's just like being at a bar with a bunch of Chiefs fans talking about the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm Buck, and I'm having the time of my life doing this podcast with my best buddy, Bob, and I'm really looking forward to this Bills game.
Yep, and I'm Bob, oftentimes the one people get mad at.
Including myself.
How about those Chiefs? All right, so what?
Oh, I was just going to say, we got a huge episode coming up today. I'm super excited about all the stuff that we're about to cover.
Yep, we got a lot. Yeah, I was just going to say we're gonna break down a little bit of the Josh Allen versus Mahomes stats and things here at the start of the show. And we're going to talk about some injuries and one more recent injury that's a little scary, and then talk about a little bit of strategy versus the Bills, and then maybe a little bit of impact on the game. And then, we'll talk about playoff implications, and then we're going to do some listener voicemails. And if anybody ever wants to get in on those, it's 816-866-1066. Give us a call. Leave us a voicemail. All right, Buck.
Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell us, where do you want to start here? You want to start with, so Josh Allen and Mahomes are two of the greatest quarterbacks of our time. I have great respect for Josh Allen. I think he is a really cool guy. I know Mahomes has great respect for him. The league does. He's just a good old boy.
Love the way he plays the game, the way he approaches it.
Runs like a quarterback that runs like a fullback, hard to take down, has a rocket arm. I mean, just these two guys are amazing, and
he's a classy guy too. Like,
definitely.
He always says the right things. You can tell his body language on the field. He gets angry, but he's, it's all leading towards love and towards good and towards winning and all that. I feel that the whole the blue collar town type of feel, it's very similar to the way the Chiefs run their organization. I got nothing but love for Josh Allen.
Definitely. And even as a Chiefs fan, if Mahomes did not exist, then Josh Allen would be my absolute favorite QB in the NFL, and he would be the one that I wished we had. Like, all my life, I wished we had a certain quarterback that was in the league at that time. Lots of times it was Tom Brady. I just wished we had a quarterback. It wasn't until Mahomes that I ever felt the feeling of not having that wish, being like, I have the quarterback that I absolutely want. And it's a weird feeling being a fan for so long. And yeah, Josh Allen would be that guy. But yeah, let's talk about Josh. Why don't you break it down for us, Buck? You got some stats here you want to talk about.
Yeah, so when we play the Bills, we've played them 4 times. And when we play them in the regular season, the Bills always win. But then when we see them in the playoffs, as we all, I would assume a lot of the listeners know already, the Chiefs do end up winning. So during the regular season, the Bills are 3-1, and so we're 1-3. But in the playoffs, the Chiefs are 3-0.
And just to point out, I heard George Karlaftis talking to the media this week, and he said we haven't beat them in the regular season, at least since I've been here. And it reminded me that one win was a while ago.
Yeah, yes, it was
4 seasons ago.
Yeah. But the matchup, a lot of people say that Josh Allen is better, but statistically, he isn't. And we're not talking about a small margin either here. Like completion percentage, Mahomes is 4% better career wise. Passing yards, games, Mahomes has one more game than Allen. So we're not talking about a big difference in time played. But in passing yards, he's got him by almost 6,000 yards. Yards per attempt, half a yard per attempt. That's a lot. Yards per game, over 50 more yards per game. The stats are really, until we talk about running the ball, that's where Allen kind of gets Mahomes, but that's fine. Take it.
I mean,
what?
I mean, passing TDs, 231 to Josh's 184. Now,
That's
interceptions, Mahomes has 72 and Allen has 82. But Allen and Mahomes are going the opposite way, if I'm being fair. Allen started out lots of interceptions, and he's been getting better at it. Mahomes started out almost no interceptions, and he's getting worse at it as time goes on.
Yes, he's had a rough. Well, last year wasn't great, and this year is even less than that. So, but we've had 2 games in a row now with no interceptions. So let's knock on wood. Let's try for 3 in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to, and then you want to talk about, like accolades, Mahomes has 3 championships. Allen hasn't played in a game yet. Mahomes has 6 Pro Bowl appearances. Allen has 2. He's been an All-Pro. Mahomes has been an All-Pro 3 times. Allen has once. And then, of course, Mahomes has the AP MVP of the league twice, Offensive Player of the Year once, and Super Bowl MVP 3 times. At the end of the day, Mahomes and the Chiefs have a much better statistical outcome than Josh Allen with the Bills. Because it's definitely not just an Allen versus Mahomes thing. It's definitely a team thing.
Well, but you do have to point out, you can't skip past so rushing yards. Now, Josh does have, not what is that? 80% more runs, not exactly double, but Josh has ran 712 times to Mahomes 413 times. And Josh has gotten 3,872 yards to Mahomes 2,003 yards. However, yards per attempt for both of them is pretty much the same. Like Josh is 5.4 and Mahomes is 5.1. And rushing TDs, Josh has a ton of rushing TDs.
It's more than 4 times as many as Mahomes. It's crazy. 57 to 13. That's a huge gap, but that's fine. Mahomes that's never been his thing. He really doesn't want to run the ball. And Allen, when he gets down there, he's willing to throw his body out on the line, and I don't hate him for that. But I think Mahomes will do it if he has to. Hence the 13 touchdowns. But I guarantee you maybe one or two of those might be planned for him to run. Everything else is just scrambling, and he's got to do it himself. So
I really dislike.
I just don't care about the rushing stats though when we're talking about the quarterback, unless you're talking about Lamar Jackson. The rest of them, it's just 2 Super Bowls in a row wins. Those stats clearly don't matter. It's the top 2/3 of that statistical little graph there that we're looking at. I mean, it's all the passing stuff. That's where Mahomes and the Chiefs are successful and the Bills are not. So let them have the running yards. Yeah. Let's just hope Allen doesn't get 3 rushing touchdowns on Sunday, because then it's going to be a bad day.
Well, it's and it's weird to me to see that he's only gotten two Pro Bowls. Like the Super Bowl MVPs and the league MVPs, I always think is kind of a silly award, at least for the last decade or so. It just goes to QBs. Why don't we just name it best QB? Because I'm telling you, there's been times where I'm sitting going, well, he wasn't the Super Bowl MVP. Like, I don't think Mahomes was last year. I mean, it's just weird to me that the quarterback always gets it. And I know, yes, they have to control the game. Yes, they are the leader, but call it something else. I mean, I just don't get the MVP stuff. I don't get it at all. I think it's crazy. And yeah,
maybe separate it out. Just do like, all right, the quarterback of the year is this guy, and then the team MVP is any other position.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Just so that they take him out of it, because it just seems kind of silly to me. I'm trying to think of it like an egregious example of a quarterback who really didn't deserve it in a Super Bowl. I'm trying to think. I know they're there, but
Flacco? Did Flacco get player of the game, MVP?
I don't know. Write into us and tell us. But yeah. So what about this season, Buck? How do they shape up any different this season?
Actually,
Mahomes
this was
and Josh Allen.
Yeah, Mahomes and Allen. Yeah, that kind of surprised me. A couple of these stats, honestly. Mahomes has more completions, and as a fan of the Chiefs and only watching the Chiefs as intently as I do, and then not paying a whole lot of attention to other teams, but Mahomes has 26 more completions than Allen does, and 12 more attempts.
Yep.
But his percentage is 6 points higher than Allen, which that doesn't bode well for Allen, because I think that Mahomes has really had an off year, honestly.
Yeah.
Yards, Allen does edge out Mahomes by a few yards, but it's, minuscule amount. Yards per attempt, he's got Mahomes by half a yard. But touchdowns, he's only got 17 to Mahomes 12. So, I mean, it doesn't look like he's going crazy through the air this year either. So, and he's got only 4 interceptions, which, I mean, I guess it doesn't concern me, because that's not a huge part of the game that I'm relying on as a fan when I'm watching the Chiefs. I'm not expecting 2 or 3 interceptions per game, because we don't do that a whole lot. So, and then with Allen only throwing 4 this year, it probably lends itself to maybe 1 if we're lucky, a tipped pass or something. But
and you look at that, but you look at the interceptions and you think to yourself, oh, okay, well, you look at sacked. I mean, Josh Allen's only been sacked 13 times as opposed to Mahomes 20. I'd be curious to see both of their totals in QB rushes. How many times QB hurries. How many times they were hurried during. That would be interesting to see. But
yeah.
I think
definitely.
the line plays a big part into the problem we're running into here.
Yeah, and if I remember right, we're talking about 4 sacks on Mahomes the last 2 games. So 8 of those 20 sacks have been in the last 2 weeks too. So the line was doing fairly well up until Wanye got hurt, and then it just kind of all fell apart. So let's really hope and pray that Wanye can stay up the whole game this week.
Yeah.
That's got to be a lot on the guy, though, man, knowing that once he's gone, who knows what's going to happen. Speaking of
scary,
there's been a lot of talk on the radio about what they can do, because you clearly can't put Kingsley Suamataia back in as the left tackle. Like, we've seen way more than enough of that already this year.
Do we know if Smith can play left tackle? Because it'd be interesting to see Suamataia play right tackle, because I've been telling you this before. Some players can just switch and some players can't. I mean, Jason Kelsey was on New Heights talking about the Pro Bowl and how they had to draw straws on who was going to play right tackle, because it was all left tackles every time in the Pro Bowl, and they would suck ass going to the right, just completely suck ass.
Makes sense.
So if that's the case, then I'm guessing going from right to left sucks ass even more, so it'd be interesting to see if Suamataia could be the right tackle of the future. and we're just we're setting him up to fail on the Chiefs, possibly. I'm saying
Well,
hypothetically.
let's give it a try. I mean, Kingsley can't suck any worse on the left. He literally cannot suck any worse. Let's try him on the right. I mean, he can only be better on the right.
Kingsley. I said Smith.
Kingsley.
I'm sorry.
And then move in, Joe Tooney over or Taylor over, whoever, just moving somebody else over can only do better. So I don't understand why, when they brought him in for the Wanye injury, why they didn't move the line around to try and I mean, I guess they wanted to see
second
what
overall.
kind of progress.
They were hoping, I think, that he would be a left tackle. And some people are able to make the swap. It just depends on the player. And it doesn't depend on how good they are at the right or the left. It just depends on if their brain is able to swap that, because you're putting completely different weight on different feet. I mean, it's different feet and legs. So,
oh yeah.
But I would
absolutely
love to see it. I bet you that's the plan for next year, but I don't know.
I gotta hope that they got something else in line as a backup plan for this week. If something happens to Wanye, I just, man, if I see Kingsley out there again in left tackle, that's gonna bring me down immediately. I just don't want to see that anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
Hopefully they'll work on it. He'll get better for next season. We can worry about it then. But yeah, we don't have to talk about Kingsley too much more.
Now, the most important stat when we're looking at Allen and Mahomes this season is Allen has 203 fantasy points to Mahomes 150 fantasy points. And my fantasy team is upset about this because I had Allen last year in fantasy, and this year took Mahomes super early. It's not panned out so far.
No, yeah, you kind of got screwed there with the receiver situation.
Although
that
I've moved up to number 3 in my league, though. Hunt was a big savior. I've done pretty good in free agency. I have to say, I have to pat myself on the back.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I don't play fantasy right now, but I just root from the sideline for you.
I mean,
so did you see the last stat though? So this is a weird stat. I've never seen this before, but points for every 100 snaps. Allen's got 33.8 points per 100 snaps, where Mahomes is at 23.7. That's a difference of 10.1 points per 100 snaps. As I said, I've never seen that stat before, so it's kind of hard to gauge. But that seems like a pretty big gap, because they'll take 50, 60, 70 snaps in a game. That's so that's 5, 6, 7 points.
I mean, I think the fact that Josh scores so many rushing TDs would be a big factor in that. Josh also has him beat in passing TDs too. So
yes,
yeah, Mahomes has 13 total TDs and he has 21. So that is a big difference, but that seems about right with that points per 100 snaps stat.
Yeah, kind of fits right in.
Yep.
So I don't know that I don't know what that tells us about this game necessarily, but it kind of gives us an idea of what maybe we can expect from our defense against Josh Allen's offense. I mean, he doesn't scare me necessarily. If I don't know it's Josh Allen in the Bills and I'm just looking at player X has these stats, I'm not worried at all. Looking at the Chiefs versus the Bills in the regular season over the last 4 or 5 years, knowing the history, this is absolutely the game that the Chiefs could lose, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I almost feel like we should lose to keep everything correct.
Yeah, like I've been saying that. I mean, I've been tooting that horn all year. I don't want to go undefeated because I love it when the Chiefs have a chip on their shoulder going into the playoffs. Like, we shouldn't have lost those games, and I love that. And I don't think that the Chiefs are going to play as well if they do go into the postseason undefeated. But each different, like, I don't want to lose this game. I don't want the Chiefs to lose this game. the what it's going to do for the playoff implications, which we'll kind of talk about later, it's going to be so beneficial for the Chiefs and such a drawback if we lose this game. So, like, I want to win this game. And I know I'm going to say that every single week. There's just always going to be a reason to say, well, this isn't the week to lose. But it actually, honestly, would be the game to lose because we're going to see the Bills again in the playoffs, almost certainly. And so you want the Chiefs going into that game with the memory of this game.
I know, yeah, but let's talk about that when we get to it in the playoff implications. It'll just make more sense there because I want to chime in on that too, but I want to kind of keep them separate. But why don't you tell us about injuries and player availability across the board stuff too here?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of guys on the Chiefs injury report that isn't real consequential. Like Mecole Hardman, we know he kind of hurt himself. He was a full practice all week. The fact that they put him on the report is just to kind of, he did have something in the last game. Mahomes is on the list too. He was full practice. The names that we're really interested in right now, the three guys that we've been talking about, Juju Smith-Schuster, he was full practice the last 2 days. He is expected to play on Sunday, which is a huge boost for this offense. Isaiah Pacheco said now he was in practice. He did limited practice, but he is ruled out for this game. And Amenahue, he was also limited in practice, which I think is a great sign. But he is also listed as out for this game. Now the big keys for the Bills' injuries is Keon Coleman, which I want to say is their second wide receiver. He is listed as out. He did not practice at all this week, so he will not play. And Amari Coomer, which I believe is their number 1 wide receiver, he was limited in practice all week, and he is listed as questionable. So if they were to be without 2 of their top wide receivers, that would be a huge, huge, huge advantage for the Chiefs' defense.
I think, is he a wide receiver, Keon? He is.
Yeah.
Also, his third highest pass catcher is the tight end that's out too, isn't it? Does he have a tight end that's out too?
Dalton Kincaid. Yeah, he is out.
Yeah, and that's his. That's the guy that has the third most receptions on the team. Now, Amari Cooper is a different one. You look at it and you look at his receptions, but it's not with Josh Allen because he was on a different team. He got traded over to the Bills. So he is the second most producing one on the team, but he didn't do it on that team. So it's hard to really gauge. Also, a little tidbit for you, Amari Cooper, if he does play, is going to have to wear a splint on one of his wrists. I forget which wrist it is, but he's going to have to wear a splint in the game if he were to play, which definitely would affect the catching of a wide receiver. He'd probably be in there as a decoy if he was coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. And, if he's only been with the team for a couple of weeks, remember his chemistry with Josh Allen is probably not at 100% too. So, let's just kind of hope that the Bills offense is heavily stunted and our defense can just dominate. But that would take a lot of pressure off our offense.
Chiefs, though, isn't Juju supposed to act like? Yep. I know Pacheco and Amenahue came off the IR, but they're not expected to play this week. But I think
Pacheco's actually not. Pacheco has not been taken off the IR yet as of yesterday. That's the last report. He's still on. Yep. He's still, they were expected to take him off this week, but they did not. Amenahue is off. He's on the PUP list, but he's off IR.
Yeah. Pacheco's back practicing with the team though. They've got,
he was limited in practice.
They have a 3 week,
still on the IR.
Yeah. They have a 3-week grace period to bring him back to practice. When they bring him back to practice, it's like a 3-week grace period. They can either choose in that 3 weeks to take him off IR or put him back on IR. So I think this is the time they're going to gauge and find out if he's ready to come back.
Yeah, but you're right. Juju is going to play on Sunday. He's as of the latest report, which was yesterday, I believe, from Chiefs.com.
I think that's huge. I mean,
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Huge for Worthy, huge for Kelsey,
Hopkins.
huge for Hopkins, huge for them all. I mean, I think that's
huge
great.
For Hunt and Pirine. Yep. Pirine especially because he's usually being thrown to rather than running. So,
well, I'd love to see Amenahue on the field. I mean,
oh yeah.
And I'm scared. I want to know that he's still the same player because after an ACL as a defensive end, that could be a really scary.
That's what he
might never
wants.
be the same.
Yes, that's exactly what he wants. He wants to prove to everybody that he is the same player. He's itching to get out there. I mean, he's had a few tweets where, he says, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. But I love the Chiefs' approach to this because right now our defense is our strongest component of the game right now. So why bring him back early when we're not struggling? Or why not wait the full term, even if he's at 90%, let him get to 95, let him get to 99, let him get to 100%. There's absolutely no reason to bring him back and disrupt what Spags has going on the field right now.
I say if he gets to 90%, you put number 90 in.
I won't argue. I'm just saying there's just no need to rush it. There's just no need. Let's have him fresh for the playoffs. Get him in there around week 12, week 13, something like that. Let him get his game legs back on and get ready for the playoffs because that's going to be awesome.
Playoffs? You talking about playoffs?
Playoffs?
We just trying to win a game. Playoffs?
Playoffs?
Leave in the comments who did that better, Buk or Bob.
Oh, it's definitely me.
We need comments to help push the YouTube higher and higher. We need comments. All right, so what should we should talk about a little bit of you had some thoughts on strategy, but first we're going to take a timeout.
All right.
And we're back from timeout. All right. What do we got here? Strategy
adjustments. Yeah.
What you think here?
Well, so the Chiefs, I think, have been known over time to make great adjustments, right? That's why they've been able to pull out so many victories late in games. But one thing, I don't know if I feel like the adjustments just haven't been made on offense. I feel like we need to make some adjustments on offense. And I don't know if that's just a Patrick Mahomes doesn't trust the line or if Andy needs to do something to the line like we kind of talked about before. I really feel like something that has to happen there. But one of the big storylines right now is actually the Chiefs defense versus the Bills offense. So the Bills offense without the injuries is really potent and really scary. We're not sure what to really expect this week because we do tend to play down and other teams tend to play up when they play us. So I think how our defense is going to be the key to this game. I just don't expect a whole lot from the offense, even with Juju coming back.
Really?
I really don't yet. I mean, this is his first game back. So he hasn't played with Hopkins at all. And I know they don't throw to each other, but they still play off each other. Receivers play off each other. So it's not just the chemistry between Mahomes and the receivers, but it's the receivers having chemistry with each other. So I think that'll take a game or two to really kind of get on track. Luckily, Hopkins has really just, since game one, he just came out and looked like he's been practicing with this team for a long time. So I don't really expect it to take long, maybe a game or two. But yeah, I don't really expect to see a huge leap offensively with Juju coming back in this first game. I really don't. I'm hoping we can score in the mid-20s, but with the way our defense is playing and what Josh Allen is capable of, I think our defense is the key to winning this game.
And locking down Josh Allen, that's going to be the biggest thing. Locking down Josh Allen is going to be important. And we talk about him not having his receivers, but while they've been out, he's just been making new stars of new receivers. And I mean, he's
And he's
he's
got the
looking good.
capability to do that. It's very much like Mahomes can do that. Josh Allen can definitely do that, and he can pump up a team. He's a natural leader. Yeah, he's scary. Absolutely. Anytime he's playing against us.
So what are some vulnerabilities we could maybe take advantage of?
Well,
on the Bills defense.
On the Bills defense, I kind of feel like we're going to see some more running. I kind of hope that we see more running. I know that.
Yeah, but
what are you talking about?
What are some of the Bills' defensive vulnerabilities that we could possibly exploit?
Oh yeah, well, so running the ball specifically, they're number 15 and they're giving up more than 123 yards per game on the ground.
Okay.
So Hunt has been a monster on the ground. We know that he's getting winded. We know that it's starting to wear on him a little bit. So I'm really kind of hoping they bring in Pirine and maybe he can take it a little of that load off his shoulders.
Maybe Carson Steele could pick up a little bit.
I would love to see Carson Steele on maybe 5 or 10 carries a game and maybe see what he can do when he's given more than one or two opportunities. I just don't think we're going to see that. I think that we're seeing Steele as much as the Chiefs are comfortable putting him out there, and I think that's
and he's played a lot of special teams. He's playing a lot of.
He has, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing fullback.
I think it's just a what's the word? A development issue is all it is he just needs to be developed a little bit more. I think, seeing him on the special teams tells me that they trust him, but not seeing him in on offense tells me that they just don't think he's ready for that yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we saw when he was the running back, for that game and a half or 2 games or whatever it was.
I think so too.
He's serviceable, but I think he's the last option right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But they're also the Bills are also number 18 in total yards given up per game at 336 yards. That's, I think if the Chiefs offense can move the ball for 330, 350 in this game, I think that also bodes well for 20 to 25 points. But now they are in the top 10 though of points allowed per game, which to me says they're probably pretty good in the red zone.
Red zone, yeah. Bend don't break type of deal.
Yep. Yeah. And I know Patrick Mahomes is good enough to dominate that kind of defense. It's just right now with this offensive line, can he do that? That I guess we'll see on Sunday, but I don't know. It all depends on the line. 100% depends on the line and how much time they give him.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see. I think them giving up so many rushing yards is going to be pretty big, and
yeah, that falls into our advantage for sure.
Do we know how many sacks they have per game? I bet Mahomes is checking that stat. If they're a big sack team, I don't think I've seen them. I don't.
Well, I don't know that that's such an important stat because I don't think that the sacks so much this season on Mahomes have been a function of how good the defense is. It's been a function of how bad the offensive line has been. So I think it's more of an in-house issue than it is the other, the opponent's issue. That's the way I feel. That there haven't been a lot of. I know against the Bengals, was it the Lions? That guy Hendrickson that's injured for the season. He tore up the line and he tore up a pretty decent playing line. But since then, it's been mostly an offensive line just giving up sacks to, just guys rather than big. Yeah.
Well, the Bills. So the Bills are 12th in the NFL for sacks, but they're 17th for pressure rate. So maybe the D's been on the field a lot more often, and their sack percentage is 19th in the league. So I think their defense has been on the field a lot longer. They're probably people that are, people that are going against Josh Allen are probably using the same thing that they would do for Mahomes, is be like, keep Josh off of the field as much as possible. Although their blitz rate is the fourth lowest in the league at 18%. So they're generally just rushing 4.
Yeah, so if they've got a lot of sacks with just the 4 rushers. I don't know. I give that advantage to the Chiefs, honestly, because if that gives Patrick Mahomes the time to find open guys, even when he's scrambling, and when he's got time, we know that he's the best in the game. So if the offensive line only has to keep 4 guys off Mahomes, I think that's a good thing, even though that means that they have more in coverage. It still bodes better for Mahomes, I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Leave comments.
Leave it in the comments, please.
Call the voicemail 816-866-1066.
All right. So we kind of talked about these other things. I don't know about the field position, special teams, but do you want to cover any of that, or you want to just jump to the playoff implications?
Yeah, let's jump to the playoff implications.
All right, I'm going to let you go, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of to run through this real quick. So the Chiefs currently hold one of the top spots in the AFC, clearly as the only undefeated team. But there are a lot of teams within striking distance. So a loss at this point could be a big deal, even just the one loss. There's a couple of only 2 lost teams in the AFC right now. So this game is critical for maintaining the edge in the conference and securing that first round bye and number 1 seed, hopefully, which it is at this time. At this point in the history of the NFL, it is more valuable than ever to get that first round bye. The parity in this league is at an all-time high, honestly. So the tiebreaker implications that this game holds: with a win, the Chiefs would gain a head-to-head tiebreaker over the Bills, which is awesome because we do have a better record than them. So that's a huge leg up. It could be decisive if both teams finish with similar records, which I think we expect the teams to be pretty close in records at the end of the season. So the head-to-head wins are absolutely pivotal, especially if it comes down to a 1 or 2 game difference. So as far as the impact on the division leads, so the Chiefs right now undefeated 9-0. The Chargers are sitting at 6-3 at second place. So we do have a fairly comfortable lead. If the Chargers were to win this week, that would put them at 7-3. If we were to lose, that would put us at 9-1. A 2-game lead is definitely a big difference than a 4-game lead. So in our division, that's huge. But the Bills, they have a lock in the AFC East right now. They're 8-2, and the next best team is the Dolphins at 3-6. So to them, this game isn't huge as far as the division is concerned. But the psychological and momentum boost, we all know how that works for all the teams, right? A win over the Bills team for the Chiefs, or the Chiefs for the Bills, it's going to give either team a huge confidence boost heading into the latter part of the season. I will say there's an asterisk there, because I think a loss to the Bills for the Chiefs, though it wouldn't give us confidence, it would give us the chip on the shoulder that we all know Patrick Mahomes really, really holds on to and digs into. And so as I said, if there's a game that I would prefer them to lose, I would say it's this one, because we are pretty sure we're going to see them in the playoffs. So I don't know. How do you feel about all of that?
I feel like this is a very important game for seeding in the playoffs. Yes, I know we don't have to have the seed. We don't have to have the bye, but only one team in each division now, or each not division, each conference now, AFC and NFC, only one of them has a bye. It used to be that two of the teams in each had a bye, and now only one has. We didn't have it last year because of weird stuff that happened. Not all our fault. I think we should have had it. I think we would have had it, but there's really no way to fully know. But tragedy happened in one of the most influential games of the playoffs last year, and it kind of screwed the Chiefs pretty bad. And so like that's one thing. But what's scariest is that the Chiefs play. I'm trying to pull it up here so I can exactly say it. So right now we're two games up on the Bills, right? That's pretty huge. But if the Bills beat us, then if we are tied when it comes to seeding, they will have the tiebreaker in beating us. So
we're actually only a game and a half, which is a big difference because we're 9-0. They haven't had their bye week yet, so they're 8-2. So we're a game and a half up.
True. That is okay. That is true. But at the same time, you have to think weeks 15 through 17 for the Chiefs are scary. The Chiefs play 3 games in 11 days. So where are they at here?
Did you hear what the NFL schedule makers said about that? They literally said, "Yeah, well, we did that to the Chiefs because we know that they can handle it." And we play on Christmas as well. They said, "Well, we know the Chiefs can handle it." That's that's crazy.
Yeah. So basically, the Chiefs will play the Browns December 15th. Then what is it? Then it's just hold on, is this right? Yeah. So December 15th, Chiefs play the Browns. Then 6 days later, December 21st, they play the Texans. And then 4 days later, on Christmas, we play the Steelers. Now, this is absolutely nuts. But there are 3 other teams that also are going to be playing three games from week 15 through 17 over 11 days, including Christmas Day. The Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're playing the Texans and the Steelers, but they're also going to be at that disadvantage of the short weeks. So that's something that I didn't know until researching this for this game, is that we're not the only ones.
Yeah, how rare is that? Usually when there's an advantage or a disadvantage, like 3 games in 11 days type deal, you're going up against a team that played 2 games in the last 16 days type deal, or just came off their bye week or something. So that's a little different. We're going to be playing 2 teams that are going through the exact same thing. So that won't be an advantage or disadvantage, at least that aspect at all for either of those games. So that actually makes me feel a little bit better going forward.
Yep. The Texans are 6-4 through week 10, right? But they were looking really good. Now, I think the biggest problem for them is they just ran into receiver problems, and when what's his name went down, played for the Eagles.
Sounds familiar.
When he went down, their star wide receiver, everything started to kind of crumble for them. So we'll see where they're at. We have no idea if they're going to be in, if they're going to be, they might have their receivers back. I don't know exactly what the reasoning is, but the Steelers are 7-2. I mean, they're looking really good too. And
yes,
these are going to be some tough games regardless. And then with such short weeks, I mean, One of the games we have 3 days. 3 days to get ready before Christmas.
Russell Wilson beats this team. I might quit watching football. No, that's not true. But I'm going to be very disappointed. But he's actually playing a lot better with Mike Tomlin right now than he did in Denver. So, kudos to him. Fine. I still don't think he's anything special.
And this Chiefs-Steelers Christmas game we're going to get 10 days before we play the last game of the season versus the Broncos. But our guys are going to be beat up going into the playoffs because of this.
Well, 10 games before the last game of the season, and then they're going to, if they get the bye, we're talking about 2 games in a 4-week span then at that point? 3-week span, something like that?
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
close.
not sure.
So they'll have some time to kind of, and if we've got the first week bye locked up by then nobody significant is going to even play in week 18. So they'll have some time to rest up. So if we can get to that point and our, we still have a good lead on the rest of the NFL for that number 1 position, then I think that'll play into that'll definitely help this team get better.
Well, besides the whole number 1 seed implications, I'm not super worried about the Chiefs losing to the Bills this weekend because I think it would just light a fire under our ass. And honestly, it's tradition at this point. They beat us. I mean, the last 3 years, they beat us. We beat them in the playoffs. They beat us. We beat them in the playoffs. They beat us. We beat them in the playoffs. I'm happy keeping that tradition strong and going. I'm okay with that.
Well, I think, so what it is, we're really good at making the halftime adjustments, but I think in the regular season, we weren't quite good enough at making the halftime adjustments. But then you're giving Andy Reid and this coaching staff however many weeks to keep watching that game and really dissecting everything that happens. So when they get to the playoffs, they've made the adjustments they need to make. And so losing this game is, again, an advantage for the Chiefs, honestly, going forward into the playoffs, assuming that we see them.
I still
want to win this game.
I still don't know.
But
I have a firm belief at this point that they just don't pull out all the stops. You've said it before. I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just looking at the playoff run last year, I mean, it was a completely different team. Yeah, the team turned it on.
Completely different team. Yeah,
but
Travis Kelce was a whole different player in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
it's like he shaved 10 years off of his career and went back to 27-year-old Kelce. It was crazy.
Yeah, it feels like they save things that they're going to use for playoffs, and they're almost willing to lose a game rather than it's kind of bizarre to me, but it seems to be working, so I'm down.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt my feelings to lose this game. Let the Bills think that they're better than the Chiefs.
It would hurt my feelings, but I'm okay with it. Is what I'm saying. I'm okay with it, but I still want to beat the Bills.
I'm from the area, so growing up, I wasn't a Bills fan because we weren't into sports when I was a kid. We didn't get into sports until I moved to Kansas City in the mid '80s. And so I've always been a Chiefs fan first, but my family all still lives back in Buffalo. Hopefully we can get some of my family to watch the show, especially for this episode. That'd be cool. But yeah, so the Bills are kind of like a closet favorite team of mine.
I mean,
but Chiefs number one, always number one.
The Bills have become one of mine, and it's due to Josh Allen.
Josh Allen?
Well, it's not just Josh Allen. I made some really good friends doing gaming content creation. Shout out to the Blevins and Deathblow. It's not their real names, but I don't know if they wanted me to give them their real names. But that's their online handles. They used to do a Overwatch podcast, like similar to mine. They were guests on my show. I was guest on their show. But they're born and bred in Buffalo and talk to these guys. They bleed Buffalo colors just like we bleed Chiefs colors. And I got to realize that the Bills fan base is so similar to the Chiefs fan base. It's not even funny. I mean, it's like you were talking about earlier, a blue collar type of team, not thinking their shit don't stink. I mean, they're just a really good fan base, and I respect their organization and their fans. Also, they struggled for a long time, just like us, and have come up. Yep. So I'm definitely a fan of the Bills, and Bills Mafia, just like Chiefs Kingdom, is a great place to be. And I honestly feel bad for all the success that we've had, because I truly feel if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Andy Reid, I don't want to give it to any one player, but if the Chiefs organization hadn't come up the way they had, the Bills would have at least 2 Super Bowls right now under their belt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that team. I love to watch them. I couldn't say it any better than you just said it. The way Josh Allen plays is very reminiscent of Patrick Mahomes, and yeah, it's a fun team to watch. But go Chiefs.
Definitely Chiefs. But we're gonna do one last thing. We're gonna end out the show with some voicemails. But before that, I'm gonna call one last timeout, and we're back from timeout. We're gonna take a voicemail from Jeremy. Jeremy has sent us quite a few voicemails, so we're going to hear what he has to say. We haven't played them all, but we can't play all of them. We'll probably max out voicemails at like 3 per episode if we start getting enough, and we'll want to do ones from different people. But Jeremy looks like he's locking himself in to get, at least 1 per episode. So he's been he's
always got good stuff to say.
Our number one voicemail guy. And if you guys want to leave yours, it's 816-866-1066. Call in, leave a voicemail. It'll be a fun time. Let's hear what Jeremy has to say.
I heard you guys podcast about if Kelsey plays better or not better when Taylor Swift's there. But in my opinion, if she's there, I would think she would have a better day, see better games. So I think it helps a lot when she's there. I didn't think that before, but I do now. And I know if I was in his situation and my girlfriend was there, I know I'd want to play a lot better, and I probably would. Because when I go to work and me and my honey are into it or something, I can't focus at work. So I can only do a better job when me and her are on the same level of whatever situation it may be. But I definitely can relate to that. So I don't know if it really impacts this game all that much, but I would assume that it helps him a lot, play a lot better when she's there. And I think he did really good in this Broncos game. I've seen a lot of touches with him, not a lot of drops. So good job, Kelsey. And thank you guys for hearing me out. I appreciate it. Go Chiefs.
Chiefs.
All right.
I'm down with Taylor being at absolutely every game. I mean, whether he plays better or not, he definitely doesn't play worse. So, but you know what I got out of that voicemail? I think Jeremy would perform better at work if he took his girlfriend. I think that's what he's suggesting.
Yeah, I think it sounded like they work together, but maybe are on different jobs or something at times. I don't know exactly, but I do know that, if your girl's there watching you, if your mom's there watching you and you're a kid, if your dad has shown up and he, only gets to go to half the games, if anybody who's special to you shows up, Worthy's mom. Worthy had one of his best games when his mom was there. I mean, when you have somebody you super care about in the stands, I think it definitely impacts your game. There are some people that are stone cold and can absolutely force everything out, But I don't think that's the majority of people. I think the majority of people are going to play better when their loved ones are in the stands. And I think Travis is no different, even though he says he doesn't play any differently. I think it's bullshit. I think he does. And I think Taylor being at the games lights a fire.
I think I've been hearing a lot less hate over the last several months too, since the season began. You know, there was a lot of talk about, oh, Taylor Swift, the camera's on Taylor way too much. And it was never on Taylor way too much. The first few games, yeah, we saw her 5 or 6 times, but it's not like they focused on her for minutes at a time. It was literally, hey, look, there's Taylor. Hey, let's go see what Kelsey just did. And then that's, you know, we'll get that 5 or 6 times a game. Now we're getting it 2 or 3 times a game, but who cares? I mean, it only brings positive energy to this team, and it brings a fan base to this game. My daughter, 5 years old, couldn't care less about football, but she loves Travis Kelce because that's Taylor Swift's boyfriend. So she always, every week, Dad, did Travis Kelce do good this week? Yes, he did. Every week.
People say stuff like, you know, I've heard all kinds of things like the Chiefs are getting the refs help because the NFL wants Taylor Swift to be the face or some crap like that. It's absurdity. It's the same thing I heard about the blocked field goal last week. I heard that was because of Vegas. And you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong here, but Vegas keeps getting it wrong and putting the Chiefs as the underdogs. So that would hurt the bookies because they're having to pay out more when the Chiefs win. So if, you know, the Chiefs were always favored in Vegas, maybe you could make that call. Maybe I don't understand gambling good enough, which I probably don't. I don't really gamble. So
what's the accusation here? Is that lineman that flopped on his ass was taking a bribe from Vegas? You think he would throw away an entire football career to make a few bucks from Vegas?
I don't get it.
Doesn't make any sense.
That, and they're saying that the refs are getting, you know, they're saying Vegas owns the refs, and it's freaking copium, guys. Just get over it. Like the Chiefs, I mean, you could look
at hater talk.
Yeah, you could look at the stats, and the Chiefs are one of the most penalized teams across the board. And when it comes to judgment calls, the Chiefs are almost the absolute last in getting help from the refs. So I don't think the refs are being paid. I don't think Taylor Swift has anything to do with it. I think they enjoy her being at the games. They want to capitalize on it. They do want to get new fans in, and we welcome the new fans.
Hell yeah.
We welcome them with open arms, and we hope that they, you know, they make the game bigger and better. And, you know, this is the only sport I really like. So
it just grows the game.
Going. Yeah. It
can't be a bad thing at all. So,
but yeah, thank you for the voicemail, Jeremy. For everybody else, remember it's 816-866-1066. All right, well, Buck, I think that's going to be the end. Wait.
You forgot something?
No, I just had. Want to do something really weird and fun for the end of this episode?
I'm never going to say no to that, ever. So, yeah, let's do something weird and fun. What do you got in mind?
I was thinking we both do the truffle shuffle to end it out. You know, there'll be a good thumbnail. No, actually, what I'm thinking, why don't we give Jeremy a call unannounced?
Oh, yeah. Let's call him. You got his number? Is it on there?
Yeah. I mean, it comes in with the caller ID. Should we? I mean, he did say he wanted to be on the show. He did say that. I mean,
yeah,
might be putting him on the spot. He might not know who it is. I guess we'll just answer with this is Buk and Bob.
Let's do it, man. Let's talk to our buddy.
All right. Let's do it. How do I actually do this? Call. It's working.
I can hear it.
It is Saturday night.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Wah, wah.
Yep. Well, I mean, it is Saturday night. It is late. Yeah, I was so hoping he would answer. I thought that would be so funny.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Oh, hold up. Looks like he called us back.
We heard back from him?
Yeah, let's give him a call back.
Oh, yeah, let's do this.
This is Jeremy Toby.
Hey, Jeremy, this is Buck and Bob from Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom. How you doing?
What's going on, Jeremy?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
I'm so excited you guys called me back. I can't believe it. I didn't think this was even possible. I'm nervous.
Yeah, well, it's not something we ever planned on doing, but I mean, you've sent in a bunch of voicemails. We haven't used them all, but we just can't use them all. So we try to, pick and choose ones that'll be good for us talking. But we kind of felt like we knew you, and we thought, hey, maybe we could promote the voicemails a little more if we brought you on.
Well, I'm so excited, and thank you guys for that. Yeah, I've been a Chiefs fan since 2004, and that's because of my honey. And I started watching football with her again. Back in the day, I only had two teams I liked. There was the Dolphins and the Bills. And at that time, I was a youngster. I didn't know much about football, so I couldn't really get into it because I didn't know anything. But I had two teams that I liked, and I'm definitely a Chiefs fan now because of my honey. And it's like when we lose, I get so down and depressed about it. And I'm just so excited with all the Super Bowls that they won. And Pat Mahomes, he's so awesome. And Travis Kelce, they're awesome guys. And I love to be a Chiefs fan, especially now.
Nice. So is she from KC?
No, she's actually from Pennsylvania. She's sitting right next to me right now, but she's from Pennsylvania originally, and she moved out here, and me and her got together 20 years ago. We're not married, but we're still together. And she got me started on KC, and I'm a Chiefs fan 100%. I love the Chiefs. We've never been to a game, but we always wanted to go see an Arrowhead game, and we haven't yet.
Oh, you got to let us know if you're going to make it to town at all. So I know what it's like to be a Chiefs fan in the Chiefs town, right? Everybody wears Chiefs stuff everywhere. So it's easy to make that connection. So what's it like being a Chiefs fan living in a completely different city? Are like the locals fans of a specific team, or is it just kind of all random?
No, there's a lot of Colts fans in Indiana. If you live in Indiana, there's a lot of people that love the Colts. And I took a lot of crap from that because a lot of people love them. And they're like, you're a Chiefs fan? How could you be a Chiefs fan? You're not even from Kansas City. You're not from Missouri or anything like that. And I'm like, well, it's because of my girlfriend. She got me started on Kansas City, and she always liked the Chiefs since '93. And she got me hooked on them. And then after we lost Trent Green, though, I think it was around 2010 mark. I think that's when we lost him. We just down spiraled. Chiefs kept losing, and they maybe went 2 to 4 games a year. And every single season we had a bad season, and I hated it, and so did she. And once Alex Smith got there, I was all for him, and my honey's like, nah, I don't think he's the right guy. But I give him a lot of praise. I'm sorry about what happened to him, but Patrick Mahomes, I can't say enough about that dude.
Yeah. You talk about Trent Green. I used to see him all the time at the grocery store near my house because he went to the same. I saw Tyreek Hill there a lot too when he played for us. But yeah, Trent's super nice. I would always come shake his hand, say, this was well after he was done playing for us, and I was just like,
right.
Thank you for what you did for us and loved watching you. And he was just always a super nice guy that would take time to stop and talk. And it was really cool. But you did say you grew up a Bills fan, and that's what we talked about during this episode. So give us just a quick, we don't have a ton of time here, but just a quick, once over of what you want to see the Chiefs do to make sure we secure a win over the Bills this weekend.
I want to see Chris Jones all over Josh Allen. I mean, I think he's the go-to guy of the defense, and I want to see him and Karlaftis. I want to see those guys get after him tremendously. And Josh Allen, he's a really good quarterback. He's great with his legs. That guy can move. So I'm just hoping that our defense can shut him down in this game.
Yeah, and Chris Jones wants to get after him too. They're actually fairly good friends. Kind of reminds me of the old relationship between Brett Favre and, Gappy. What's his name? Had the huge gap in his teeth. One of the best pass rushers
Michael
of all time.
Strahan?
Yep, Strahan.
Michael Strahan. My girlfriend loves that guy.
Yep, they had a great relationship, and that's kind of how Josh Allen and Chris Jones are. I don't know if you've seen the meme where both Chris and Josh are on the ground. Chris just got the tackle, and Josh just kind of lightly throws the football in Chris Jones' face. Like, that wasn't taunting. A lot of like Chiefs fans were like mad at that. That was two buddies giving each other shit, basically.
I did not know that. I'm glad you guys told me that because I did not even think about that at all. But I'm pretty sure that Josh Allen and Mahomes, I think it was a couple years ago, that they went golfing with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
It is true. They play in a few tournaments every year, and Travis Kelce often talks about how good Josh Allen drives the ball. He's just wild with it. You don't know where it's going to go.
That's what I heard. Did you guys know he's also a Frank Sinatra fan?
Who is Josh Allen?
No. Yeah, he likes to listen to Frank Sinatra because a couple of years ago we were watching one of the games and they said the commentators said this, so I don't know if they know what they're talking about, but they said that's his kind of music. He likes to listen to Frank Sinatra, and that's the only one I can remember they said, but there was some other ones on there.
Probably some sort of what do they call those, crooners?
Crooners, yeah. That makes me like him just a little bit more, honestly.
Yep. It's a new dawn. It's a new day.
I don't have nothing against Josh Allen. He's a good quarterback, but we're Patrick Mahomes all the way.
Definitely Chiefs.
There ain't no change in that.
Yep.
Definitely the Chiefs.
Buddy.
That's right.
Definitely
Chiefs. Well, thank you guys for calling me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you commenting on our stuff and leaving us voicemails.
I just don't like my voice on the phone. I just don't like my voice on the phone because
Nobody does.
Sound like a little kid, and I'm 45 years old, but I sound like a little kid.
Yeah, I mean, we're calling you through the computer, through our professional mics. It definitely makes you sound very different on the phone. I don't think anybody cares, but we just appreciated you. Wanted to say thank you, and we're trying to grow the podcast. People like you help us out tremendously, and I'm
trying to do that. I'm trying to tell everybody about you, buddy.
Well, we appreciate it, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing real quick before we get off here, I wanted to know, Bob, what's your puppy's name?
It is Loki, the god
Loki.
of mischief. Yeah.
That's awesome.
He is a mischievous
man.
little punk too.
Oh, I bet he is. Is it a he?
Yes,
Right?
he's so cute. He's a German Shepherd
He
mix
is
of some
cute.
kind.
That's what I told my honey. I seen the puppy on your show, and I told her, I said, they got a puppy. They just got a puppy recently, and she peed on your carpet or something, didn't she?
During the show, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was one heck of a show. We're gonna have to get somebody to watch him or something during the next show, because that was a little wild.
And then I noticed, I guess it is Mel. I guess that's your wife, isn't it?
Yes. It's
Okay. And then I noticed on the show she has the same hat that we have.
Oh, really?
Which
The
one?
championship
The
hat?
black one? Yeah, the black one.
Yes. My honey got one of those a long time ago, and she don't usually wear hats, so I've been wearing it ever since she got it. And then I noticed your wife had one on there. I thought, hey, that's pretty cool.
I've got one too. So I just
that's
try
awesome.
I just try to change them up. I have a lot of Chiefs hats. She had to get me a rack for all of my hats.
Oh, really? How many hats you have?
Oh, well, Chiefs hats, probably 12. Hats total,
Oh, really?
probably 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she got
And
me
what
a
about
thing.
you? What about you, Buck?
I've got like 8 hats total, and 4 of them are Chiefs hats. Yeah, I've got 3
that's
Chiefs
cool.
hats that I rarely wear. I leave them on a shelf just kind of as a decoration, but this is my daily wear Chiefs hat. I love this one the most.
Yeah, I'm
How
going to
do
try
you-
to
When I
talk
wear
about
every
them.
show.
How long you guys been doing your podcast, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, it's brand new. We started
Yeah,
just
it's the first season.
a month or two before the season, and we put out just a couple episodes. I've been doing podcasts for a long time, but
Yeah,
they're
you do
in
other
gaming.
ones, right?
Yeah, and so this is the first time I
Okay.
tried a sports podcast, and it's been interesting trying to know how to market it, because I've got like some really big podcasts in gaming, but it's
wow.
yeah, it's hard on in the sports market. There's so many TV shows and everything else, so
Yeah, it's a whole different ball
Yeah,
game. Pun intended.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I gave up gaming when I started Toyota 6 years ago. I work at Toyota in Princeton, and I gave up gaming because I work long hours there, so I never have time to game. When I get home, I like to spend time with my family, my honey, our pets and stuff. And I completely gave up gaming to work at Toyota.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I do gaming, luckily, with my wife. We wouldn't have a good marriage if we weren't both gamers. But we are out of time, though, so why don't you end out the show for us there, Jeremy, and give us a how about those
How about those Chiefs?
Chiefs? All right, everybody, we will see you. We will see you next. Well, actually, just in a couple days for our after the game podcast. So stay tuned. We will see you then, and goodbye.